When you try to change any single thing, you find it hitched to everything else in the universe. A quote by John Muir. My project began with an inspiring field trip deep in a southwestern Colorado forest near Wolf Creek Pass. While overlooking this breathtaking landscape shown here, I wondered, where are the new tree seedlings? What happened in this forest to cause such vegetation changes? In 2013, the West Fork Fire Complex is what happened. A vastly encompassed, mature Engelmann spruce forest drained by a spruce beetle outbreak, followed by a high intensity wildfire that ravished over 109,000 acres of landscape. The mortality of this disturbance left only a handful of resprouting and weedy herbaceous plants from a fire that burned over 7 years ago. I cannot speak of wildfires without mentioning Native Americans and their role in diversifying the ecosystem with fire, a tool used to create mosaic landscapes that support ecosystem services such as watersheds and animals. After Native Americans were extirpated from the land, soon to follow were those valuable ecosystem services that people and our earth depend on. Later, the iconic Smokey Bear campaign made a grand impression on protecting people and animals from wildfire danger. However, this campaign also accelerated the use of fire suppression and arguably misguided fire management practices that began over 75 years ago. So, where are we now? It's getting warmer and drier in the west, leading to compositional changes in soil and plant communities. Trees are parched and stripped of their nutrients, leaving them depleted and exposed as a matchstick ready to ignite and engulf its neighboring tree friends. On the right is my dear friend, fighting a high intensity crown fire, and the forest floor is defenseless to its wrath. Beetles and wildfires are both natural environmental regulators that maintain biodiversity in our ecosystem. However, with the long term history of land fragmentation and management influences, coupled with human driven climate change or anthropogenic, we are now seeing severe cascading effects, such as habitat loss for birds and other species. This sparks an extremely multifaceted conundrum, ecologically, economically, and socially. You can see on this NASA image from 2018 the various effects from severe wildfires that emit heavy amounts of black carbon. No matter where we are on this planet, mega wildfires are major contributors of global climate change. These mega fires come with a monetary cost. On the left side, you can see that in 2018 alone, between the U.S. Forest Service and Department of Interior, we spent over $3 billion suppressing wildfires. This is the highest amount in the history of fire suppression. Research has shown that prescribed or controlled burns can alleviate high severity fires. The graph on the right are regions that respond considerably well to prescribed burns. Sounds like a simple solution. However, prescribing burns is no easy task. This requires team effort of time, research, funding, and application, and the support of the community. To better understand how fire is impacting various ecosystems, I extensively researched literature, attended countless conferences and workshops, as well as trekked through the fields of Yukon, Canada, far northeast Siberia, and the western US in order to optimize my constant curiosity. Although I'm smiling in this photo, I'm sad to report this glacier has drastically receded, completely draining the connecting river, causing severe cascading effects downstream. For example, the local community and the Kluane First Nations people are losing their ecosystem services, such as water supply, fish habitat, wild animals, mountain goats, and Arctic ground squirrels, as well as vegetation loss. Remember, everything is interconnected. Let's shift back to the western US. These photos are from the same plot 8 years apart. A ponderosa pine forest type converted following a high severity fire. This subsequently reburned and is now dominated by New Mexico locust and non native grasses. This example illustrates how sensitive plant communities are to frequent and severe fires. The term type conversion is variously interpreted by many ecologists. Therefore, Dr. Jonathan Koop and I designed and distributed a survey to give a voice of what land managers, scientists, and other stakeholders are seeing in their neck of the woods across Western North America. The survey was developed using the online platform SurveyMonkey. It was promoted via web pages, email, and newsletters of fire, rangeland, and forestry organizations. It was broadcasted in December 2018 and closed March 2019, a time when land managers are typically preparing for wildfire season. We received over 300 responses, of which land managers and researchers were the highest contributors. On the left is one of 8 graphic scenarios asking if this is a type conversion or not. 89% of the respondents said yes. I just spoke of this scenario in the previous slide, and this is similar to the West Fork Fire Complex from my first slide. The graph on the right displays openness to a range of management strategies to address type conversion. Some qualitative responses include, with changing climate, it will depend on vegetation type, as a one-size-fits-all approach simply will not work. Reintroduction of fire could reverse the process, but requires prior treatment of fire, and should is not always synonymous with can. After analyzing the results, we defined ecological type conversion as a major, abrupt change in species, life form, and/or function that is spatially extensive and temporally enduring. It's a concern in all habitats, particularly in dry forest, shrub, and grassland vegetation. Causes reported were endless, but the majority reported drought, severe fire, lack of fire, development in land use. For example, many reported overstocking and grazing livestock, as well as a convergence of all of these factors. Surveys can be powerful research and science communication tools for understanding perceptions of different groups. This survey also provided a voice for vulnerable ecosystems through the hard work and dedication of the respondents. I had an amazing time sharing our research and learning from others across the globe at the Association for Fire Ecology Conference in Tucson, Arizona. I also designed a 2-page document to be published for various land management and fire science networks, where they provide knowledge sharing tools and resources accessible to the public. Publishing our survey results and defining type conversion may provide a stronger backbone for further research, policy implementation, and be used as a tool for holistic management strategies. However, myself and some of the survey respondents echo loudly: how useful is a tool if there are barriers to using it? People that strive to protect our environment have faced great challenges under the current administration. Shortly after I released the survey in December 2018, the federal government initiated the longest shutdown in history, leaving federal employees at a standstill. This also hindered my data collection, as many of my emails were kicked back due to the shutdown. Moreover, the current administration has drastically slashed funding of research on climate change and environmental issues, thus debilitating the care of our most susceptible ecosystems. This is a controversial topic that cannot be ignored if we are trying to successfully protect our lands and livelihoods with the best of our capabilities. During these contentious times, it's important to recognize the power of voice from stakeholder concerns. Let's encourage the youth to share their concerns for our ecosystem and how they would better manage it. I presented to a group of environmental science high school students that live near the West Fork Fire Complex, where my inspiration for this project began. When I showed them a picture of Smokey Bear and asked their thoughts on wildfires, I was floored to hear them respond, "We need fires in our ecosystem." Furthermore, the students agreed that a rapidly changing climate requires innovative approaches that create a more resilient and diverse ecosystem. Wow, their bright and capable minds give me hope for the future of our planet. In spite of unbinding accountability from some of our leaders, fueled and scarred by special interests and lack of knowledge or concern for ecological changes that are reaching their threshold of stability, for example, type conversion, it's time to spruce up the system and go out on a limb for our environment by bridging collaborative partnerships with your communities, agencies, scientists, educators, and policymakers. If we cannot find some common ground soon, all of our hard work will be in vain. This imperative research would not have been possible without the inspiration from people along my journey and funding from multiple organizations. I appreciate your time and attention and look forward to your questions.